excited. I think this was just a perfect time to talk after that amazing panel to look at different areas. So let's think about 2023. When we think about space, all the exciting things that are happening. You know, we're looking at replacing the International Space Station with commercial space stations. We're looking at private citizens being able to not only launch into space, but eventually go around the moon. We're looking at great science missions from NASA and ESA and others. We're seeing amazing pictures coming back from the James Webb Space Telescope. So 2023 has been an amazing year. And you're probably thinking, well, space, that's just, you know, going to the moon. We heard about Artemis. We heard about going to Mars, you know, with Elon Musk. But what I really want to talk to you today is how space is what's right here on Earth. It's all of you. And I think you've heard that throughout the message, that space is right here. So when you think about the space economy, last year it was worth $546 billion. And I know you heard some other numbers from Department of Commerce, Richard DeBello and everything. But at Space Foundation, we saw it as $546 billion, and that's including a lot of that technology that's in commercial. So when you look at this slide, the big takeaway I want to give you is 78% of space, that space economy number was commercial, meaning it's products and services we're using every day. So some of those favorite products and services, you know, we all got these. Hold them up. I know, I saw you all have them. Don't hide them. Yes. And when we do that great selfie, I see you. You guys look great. Many of our cell phones are using NASA imaging technology to capture that great picture. There's a lot of other great technologies. Think about GPS in your phone. There's algorithms. All came from space. And one of my favorite forms of space technology is that fire-retardant clothing. Because my husband was a firefighter for 30 years. And thanks to that Apollo-era space technology, he was able to come home safely every day. But space isn't just those things, telecommunications and that. There's a lot of healthcare applications. You know, we think about eye surgery or laser angioplasty. But you know, one of the certain things that's most exciting about space is, how many of you have heard of the Hubble Space Telescope? It's the one before James Webb. So Hubble was designed to look into space for anomalies. And a company took that technology and used it to look into the human body for anomalies, and that's how they created mammogram technology. So thanks to space technology, we're saving millions of lives. Now, some of the challenges I hear about space is, you know, we've got all these challenges on Earth. We talk about sustainability. I was here last year and I heard a lot of great talk about cancer research and farming seaweed, and it was amazing. And so a lot of times people say, why are we investing that money in space when there are so many challenges here on Earth? And in 2015, the United Nations, all the countries agreed to 17 sustainable development goals that we would achieve by 2030. Now, each and every one of those 17 sustainability goals is supported by space technology. You can go to the United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs. There is a drop-down menu, and you can see how space technology is helping us with each and every one of those goals. Now, I won't cover all of those goals, but I'll cover just a few of those with you. So when you look at this slide, on your far left are 3 young ladies I met in Doha. They were going to Doha University. They were studying to be nutritionists. Now, you're probably saying, what do nutritionists have to do with space, right? I see you like, what? So what they wanted to do is they wanted to take fruits and vegetables that are normally thrown away, and they wanted to use those to create a healthy, delicious snack. Now, for those of you who don't know, if fruits and vegetables don't have the right look, the right size, the right texture, they're left or they're discarded. So what they did is they took those fruits and vegetables They used a tried and true form of NASA technology called freeze-dried technology. I bet you've all heard of that. And they now package those fruits and vegetables that would normally be thrown away, and they've created a delicious snack that now helps reduce food insecurity in the Middle East. And they just won an award from the World Business Angels Investment Forum for this innovation technology. I also want to highlight my good friend Busudi Gerdi-Bolo. You know, quality education and gender equality are two of the Sustainable Development Goals, and obviously the Puerto Rico Space Science Institute is doing amazing work. Space Foundation, Milo, you've heard from some amazing ones. But I wanted to highlight Busudi, who started education programs in Botswana to help girls and women come into the space industry and have that confidence. So those are important Sustainable Development Goals for gender equality. I also look at water. How many of you think about water, right? I think either we have too much or too little sometimes, right? We have hurricanes or we have droughts. So in this picture, in that middle section, is our International Space Station. We have, as humanity, have been living in space for over 20 years. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Yes! Excellent, excellent. And you know, that means every drop of water has to be recycled. And it's reused. And that is something that we do here on Earth, but we just don't think about it that way. And what they did is, from the International Space Station, all the water is filtered and then it's tested for purity that it's safe to drink. Well, companies have taken that technology and commercialized it. How many of you have gone to a sporting goods store, purchased a bottle that can filter water, and gone camping or hiking? We've done that, because then you don't have to hike in with your water. You can use puddle water or river water. That is somebody that has commercialized space technology. The other thing is, when you have hurricanes, tsunamis that can contaminate water, you have to test the purity of those wells. And so many of the nonprofits that go out and test well water around the world are using that NASA testing technology that was created for the International Space Station. And of course, one of the last ones I'll talk about is energy and energy storage and affordable energy. You know, to allow the world and to allow underrepresented groups around the world to come into the space industry, we have to ensure they have forms of energy. And we know the current form of energy we use, fossil fuels, is part of the challenges that are leading to climate change. So there are some amazing innovations going on. We can just start with solar panels. Solar panels came from the space industry. And NASA is now looking to improve them, one for efficiency, but also for self-cleaning. Because on planets like Mars, you can have dust clouds that could cover a large portion of the planet and last for months. And eventually the solar panels no longer charge the batteries and that equipment dies. And that's what's happened to several of our rovers that are on Mars now. But now NASA is creating vibrating solar panels. So they're self-cleaning. But you know what's so great about that? You can take that technology and we can put it here on planet Earth. How many of you want to go out and clean solar panels when there's a big dust storm or rainstorm? No, just one. It'd be great if we could just self-clean those. So there's lots of great technology out there to help to look at creating affordable clean energy. Now, if you want to learn more about these great opportunities, you can go to the NASA Tech Transfer Office. You could apply for any of these patents. You could become an entrepreneur or investor and unleash some great space technology. But let's talk about what that technology is. The technology from the Apollo era to the Artemis generation. You know, when we think about Apollo, we were focused on putting a man on the moon and safely returning him to Earth. That was it. We didn't think about any of the other technologies, the tech transfer that happened. But now when you look at there we go. When we look at the technologies now, space technology is part of every technology. The finance, agriculture, transportation, public safety. It is in every sector and every technology we have. So if you want to be in the space industry, you're already there. You just didn't know it. So here's those economic sectors. Now what I want to highlight is, this is the part of the talk that relates to the topic, closing the cosmic divide. You know, we can look at this picture from Apollo 11. You know, let's think back to Apollo. We, as the United States, were in a space race. So there were 2 countries, primarily government workers, STEM professionals, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and primarily male. We do know from great movies like Hidden Figures that there was diversity present. But they weren't highlighted in that launch room that you see in the picture. Now I will highlight in that picture that's on your left, there is one woman in that launch control room. But as you can tell, the rest were men. So what does the workforce look like today? So remember, space race, 2 countries. Now there are more than 90 countries operating in space, and many more that want to operate in space and participate in the growing space ecosystem. We're looking at a multi-generational workforce. I'm looking at all the students. I have a wonderful high school students here, all the way to people like me, right? Old people. Older people. So multi-generational, but we're also seeing that gender diversity. So space is open to everyone now. And this is a saying from one of my good friends, Luvimbo Samanga, and she's from Zimbabwe. She's a space lawyer. And I kind of asked her, how was it to come into the space industry? Now think about it. She's a space lawyer from Zimbabwe. And she said, you know, she had self-doubts. Some of you might have self-doubts. But she said a lot of the challenges related to social, economic, and technical barriers. And so it's incumbent on us in the space industry that we have to find ways to help those marginalized and vulnerable communities come into the space industry. It's incumbent on us. And you guys are doing an amazing job by doing that. Thank you, Lucy, so much. And we've talked about a lot of the skills that we need in the space industry today. We need everything. High school graduates to PhDs, because we need people in the manufacturing supply chain. We learned during COVID how challenged our supply chains are, how fragile they are. So we need a workforce that's also in the supply chain that goes all the way up to the rockets, all the way up to those rocket scientists. So you can see we need program managers and policy makers. We talked about that on the last panel, how we need policy makers. We need those entrepreneurs like those 3 young nutritionists in Doha. We also need investors. We need artists, right? We need fashion designers. So I think what you've heard from the takeaway from this conference is there's an opportunity for everyone to come into the space industry, every career field, every discipline. So now the next big question you're probably asking is, how do we do that? Right? How do we do that? So we're not going to go through this all today. I'm going to save this for next year. That way Lucy has to invite me back. But there is an interstellar guide to success, a workforce development roadmap that can help you accomplish your goals and objectives and help you come into the space industry. It has 5 steps. It's about building awareness, access, training, connecting, and mentoring. And today is that first step. It's about building an awareness that there is an opportunity for you. And now what I challenge you to do is I want you to go out after today and I want you to share this message with others and build the awareness that there is an opportunity for everyone to be in the space industry. So with that, I want to thank you so much, Lucy, Andreka, the amazing team here for inviting me to join you. I was here last year, and this is just like coming home. So gracias, and I want to thank you all for your time.